Disney's 2025 live-action remake of their 2002 animated classic, Lilo and Stitch, is a film that I never thought I'd be passionate enough to make a video on. I've made it no secret on this channel my feelings towards Disney as a company, and previously saying that I had no plans to see this film. The circumstances that led me to do so are best explained another time, but today I want to talk about a particularly prominent complaint about this film that has been rampant on the internet. I'm just going to cut right to the chase, so if you haven't seen the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, I recommend that you do so, as not only do I think it's enjoyable, there will be spoilers ahead. And yes, spoilers, because unlike some other 2025 live-action remakes of a Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois film, this one actually bothered to give something new to the plot that you can't find in the original. Okay, so at the end of the film, Nani gives up guardianship of Lilo to social services, and now she's being raised in the foster care of the Pelicai's neighbor, Tutu, a new character created for this film. Lilo still gets to live in the same house after it was rebuilt, but Nani is no longer there because she went to join the she went to college in California to study marine biology. Apparently, a vocal subset of mainstream film discourse, especially on YouTube, has responded very negatively to this change, with the issue, as they seem to perceive it, being that this goes against the franchise's theme of Ohana. Ohana means family in Hawaiian, and as the old saying goes from the original film, family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. Therefore, Nani left Lilo behind and doesn't care about Ohana, especially since she allowed social services to win out here, something that the original film, and this one early on, made out to be a bad thing, as it meant that Nani and Lilo would be separated and wouldn't see each other again.
Are you sure about that?
Did you even watch the remake? Not only is this claim flat out wrong, the movie explains this, and no one I mentioned is left in a bad position because of this, especially not Lilo. In fact, I want to counter-argue that the ending of this film actually supports Ohana. For reasons that I would like to, again, explain at a later date, I thought that the social services plotline and Nani as a character were handled better in the remake than in the original. Yeah, I said it. But that aside, let's break things down, starting with Lilo's foster care situation. As I said, Lilo still gets to live in the same house, so in effect, she's not separated from her family's home. Her legal guardian, though, is now Tutu. That's not her actual name, though. Tutu is a Hawaiian word that means grandmother, since she's David's grandmother. Tutu is established early on in the film and tries to encourage Nani to follow her dream of studying marine biology, since the college that she applied to had already accepted her and was willing to pay her entire tuition. But because Nani and Lilo are characters created for an animated Disney film, their parents are dead. So Nani is Lilo's only guardian, and going to college would require her to relinquish guardianship of Lilo. Not a very attractive option when a social worker, ironically played by Nani's original voice actress, is already breathing down her neck for her inability to properly take care of Lilo since the death of their parents. At the end of her conversation with Nani, Tutu drops this line.
You need anything, you just ask, okay? We're not just neighbors, you know. We're Ohana.
Obviously, she's not referring to herself and Nani literally being family in the sense of being related. In Hawaiian culture, Ohana is used to describe family in a much broader sense than what many of us mainlanders often know it to be. It can include friends and any group of people who have a mutual feeling of care and community with one another. Community, such as neighbors who encourage others to follow their dreams. Remember this for later. Throughout the film, Tutu does her best to help the Pelicais, such as it being her idea to adopt Stitch.
It was my idea. And a pet might bring joy.
Being there for Nani after Lilo almost drowned and had to go to the hospital, and helping to search for Lilo when she went missing during the film's third act. Because of all this, Nani grows to see Tutu as Ohana and trusts her to look after Lilo. What further cements this is that Tutu is the one who proposes that Lilo will live with her and David, which again is the best option since they're right next door. Heck, the social worker also agrees with them and tells Nani this.
It is usually a much easier transition in these foster situations if the family, hanai or otherwise, are involved.
Yet another Hawaiian word for you to learn today, because it'll be on the quiz. Hanai means an informal adoption, regardless and often without blood relatives being involved. So Tutu being Ohana is the first surefire thing that destroys any argument that Lilo was left behind or forgotten. But there's also a second. On its own, the previous point would allow Nani to stay even if she's not Lilo's guardian on paper. But as established earlier, Nani had given up on her dream of going to college and studying marine biology to raise Lilo, despite still being encouraged. This is brought up again at the end of the film when Lilo herself tells Nani that she wants her to go and that it's what their parents would have wanted too. And again, Tutu chimes in saying,
It's also your kuleana to make sure you don't leave yourself behind.
I wish I could have shown the full scene without Disney copyright claiming my ass, but suffice to say, Lilo was not left behind because she and Tutu wanted Nani to not leave herself behind and pursue her passion of becoming a marine biologist. On that note, the Marina McBain video that I showed the thumbnail for earlier tries to poke a hole in the marine biology thing by saying this.
If you wanted an ending where everyone got what they want, then why couldn't they just have Nani go to college in Hawaii? Because if the creators did any research at all, then they would discover that college tuition for marine biology is free for native Hawaiians. Or maybe if they were going for the whole second family route, then they could both have stayed with the neighbor and she could have helped take care of Lilo.
I decided to look into this myself, and I discovered that while marine biology majors who are native Hawaiian are eligible for tuition waivers, it depends on specific criteria, as with anywhere else. It's certainly possible that Nani meets those criteria since the movie tells us that she's very smart, and the California college that accepted her was willing to give her free tuition despite being in a different state. But there's another factor to consider. Lilo and Stitch takes place on the island of Kauai, one of the less populated islands of Hawaii, with just under 74,000 people as of 2024. While it does have a college that offers marine biology, it's only a community college and is not going to give Nani the same level of learning and experience as a university. For that, she would have to go to the island of Oahu, which has a population of over 1 million people, to warrant the existence of multiple universities. However, the only commercial means to get between the islands of Kauai and Oahu is a half-hour flight each way, not counting the time going through the airport or the road times between home, college, and work. And that would just not be feasible to do 5 days a week, as it wouldn't be flexible in case, for whatever reason, like Lilo gets in trouble at school, Nani would have to suddenly change plans. Not to mention that the cost of the round-trip flights would add up, on top of childcare for Lilo and all other living expenses. In fact, the cost of living in Hawaii is, how do I put this, f***ing expensive. It's literally the least affordable state in the US. And the movie already made it clear how tight Nani's financial situation was.
There's a lot of unpaid bills here, Nani.
So whether it be in or out of state, Nani might as well move out of Kauai and live closer to college. And California would be preferable because, while still expensive on average in the US, is still less expensive than Hawaii. But wait, you might be saying, Nani has Jumba's portal gun, so that means that she can cut out travel time and go anywhere she wants for free while still going to free college and having a job and raising Lilo, so you're wrong, Grandy Tamaias. But doesn't that also defeat the purpose of the original complaint? Think about it. If Nani didn't care about Ohana as to leave Lilo behind in the foster care of people who are also Ohana, why would she visit Lilo by surprise in the mid-credits scene? Granted, the portal gun may not always be reliable.
It's jammed. The trigger's not working.
And she and Lilo have to keep it a secret from Agent Bubbles, explaining why this can't always take place, but this shows that Nani does still care about Lilo while following her passion. I do not understand how anyone can watch this scene and still accuse Nani of going against the core themes of this movie or the original. If anything, this kind of cheapens the emotional impact of Nani's decision to leave, since the movie found a way of giving a win-win for everyone. Well, everyone except the live-action Disney remake haters who manufactured this complaint and gaslighting others in the first place. Even if Nani didn't have the portal gun so that the movie could spoon-feed a solution to you naysayers, I would still be defending this movie's ending the way that I have throughout this entire video. Any way you slice it, the Lilo and Stitch remake does not destroy Ohana, but instead found another way of supporting it. If you still didn't like this movie, that's fine. I can't control the chemical reaction in your brain that tells you to want to act so adversely to this piece of fiction. But that does not give you the right to ignore evidence or come up with excuses to fit preconceived biases. And when I, an outward Disney hater, have to set the record straight, that's a problem. Then again, maybe it wasn't so much of a problem, as this remake, with the ending that it has, still managed to make $1 billion, has a higher audience score on Rotten Tomatoes than the animated film, and already has plans for a sequel. As I said, I would love to talk more about this film and compare it to its contemporary at DreamWorks. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And feel free to let me know in the comments, what did you think of the ending of the live-action Lilo and Stitch? If you hated it before, has this video changed your mind? And if you want to follow me outside of my videos, you can join my Discord server or follow me on Twitter. Links to both will be in the description. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed, have a nice day, and thank you for your time.